Hello, welcome back. This is Maurice Dimba, and today I want to take you through on how we can create RC building from scratch. If you take a look on the screen here, you can see uh, I want to create the file. So how do we create the file? We come to new here, then we click on the new, and these two fields come up, and the parent folder is Commosys projects, and we can name this as RCC building. Let me just type that right. Building modeling, building modeling, and rebar detailing That's it, rebar detailing. So I've named my file, and that file is saved under Drive C in Commosys projects. So if you track it down, we'll find it right there. So once you've named your file, this is the folder where the project will be stored. A folder named RCC building modeling and rebar detailing. So the name varies. You can name it whatever you like. And this one, I've named it like this. Now I want to go ahead and create. So once I've given it a name, I'll go ahead and click create. So the moment I create, I'll go ahead and click, and if you have project in place that was going on, just go ahead and click no, I don't want to save. So I'll have these in place. I'll have a default grid in place, and from this default grid system, I want to modify this to match or to suit my requirements. So I'm going to double click on the grid line here, the default grid line. Let me just close that and double click on the default grid line. And from here, you can see we have a dialog box for setting up a grid line. And as it is now, we only have one level at 0. So we'll start with the coordinates, then we go to labels, and that's enough. The extension can be modified, but you can just leave it at 2 meter extension by default here. XYZ extensions I'm talking about is from this end to this end. This is 2 meters. Now, let me first of all go straight and start modifying the XYZ planes here, XYZ coordinates. Now I'll come to the number of grids here, grid line, and I'll modify that to 3. I give it 3 number of grids. And if I come to Y coordinates, I'll give it maybe 2 there. This is dependent on the size of the building you need. So if I come to Z axis, the Z axis defines the levels of your structure or the levels of the building. So I'll begin from the deep down of the column basis, that is from the bottom end. I'll begin with negative 200 because we'll from underneath the 0 level. You can see that from 0 level, I'm going to negative 1.2. Then at zero, I need, from 0 level, I need 2.3, like that. Then I give a space. Then because the levels, the building levels are uniform, somehow uniform, I'll just double that 3.2 to 6.4. And that's enough. Then from here, I'll just leave them as it is, or I can just go ahead and add more. So what I'm going to do under XYZ axis, instead of leaving it at A, B, C, D, E, I'll just come here and delete everything here and just place a dash sign there. Then take the limit to Z. Then on the Y axis, I can do the same and give it a dash sign there and take everything to maybe 20 there. I know they will not pass 20. Then I'll go ahead and click apply. So the moment you notice, if I click apply, all the levels I've created resulting from 0, negative 1.2 to 0 level, to 3.2 to 6.4 have been reflected here. So I can go ahead and disable the ones that I don't want and remain the one I want to be able to see I have these in place. I can just go back once again and activate all of them so that I'll be able to see all of them. But if you leave them visible, it might clog or make your drawing so busy, and this might make our work look dirty. So let me just double click on one of the grid lines and disable the 0 level, then remain the one I want. I'll remain with that. So I'll go straight and start placing my columns. So I'll come to concrete right here. If I click on the concrete and pick on the column here, and I'll be able to snap on that spot. So the moment I snap on that spot, I want to know how deep has this column gone to underground. So I'll double click on my grid line and activate the level at 0, then click apply. You'll be able to see I'm using the column has gone deep from 0 level to deep bottom end here by 1.2. We can confirm that by right clicking and coming to measure here. You just pick on measure distance here, and snap on that spot, and snap on the bottom end here. You can see that that is negative 1.2. So the top grid is a 0 level, then the bottom end is 1.2, all the way from the 0 level going downward. So that will be part of the excavation that will be done for the placement of the column bases. So let me just right click and click interrupt, and just double click on that and come and disable the 0 one, and right click and give it an OK. Now once we've placed our column, we want now to customize or to define the size of our column. So what do? We first of all, prior to placing this column, we have two options. You can place the column using the default setting, then you come here and double click on it and change everything. Or let me just delete that. Or I can press shift on my keyboard and click the bottom, the column tool right there. So that will take me straight to setting up the column size. So there are two ways to approach this. I always prefer picking the column and placing the default size on the location I want it to be on, then double click on the column. Now start modifying it. I'll come here and I'll give it 250 right there, and I can give it here maybe 400 right there. So you can see how deep it has gone into the ground. We've not indicated here, but from 0 level, we want this to go up by 3.2 because we had defined that on our grid line on the z-axis. So from 0 level, we want this to be 1.2, and we can go ahead and click set as a default and go ahead and click yes. And I'll go ahead and click apply and give it an OK. But as it is now, you can see it has gone further downward, but we had assumed that on the grid line level it is now, it is on the grid line beneath the 0 level. So let's just double click once again and check that. So if you activate all this and click OK, you can see it has gone beyond. It has gone beyond. So what we are going to do once again, we are going to select on this, right click and delete. Once we've deleted that, we'll come to column and just place our column right there. So you will be able to see that 1.2 has been defined from this level to this level. So that's how we approach it. So just double click on the grid line once again and disable that and click apply and give it an OK. So once that has been done, we can just go ahead and select a column, right click and come to copy. Then we distribute all these columns along these grid line intersections. So let me just copy that there, and copy this one here, and copy that one there, copy that one there, and copy that one there. That's it. So the next thing remaining, we want to place the pad footings or the column bases. Now we'll come to foundation here. If you come to foundation, we'll have a pad footing here. So we want to see the dialog box that will help us in defining or customizing the size of the pad footing. So once you've come to foundation by clicking on that drop down arrow, just right click on your keyboard like that, and the setting dialog box will come. So inside here, we will be able to define the width and the height and the depth or the thickness of the pad footing here. So I can just leave it as it is as 1.5, or you can just modify it further, change that to 1.2, or change this to 1.2 as you like. And the thickness, you can just leave it at 500 thick. So I'll go ahead and click apply and give it an OK, then come back just to invoke that command to start applying the settings just defined there. So I'll just select on each and every column to place the column bases. So I'll click on every column to start placing my column bases right like that. So let me just select that, and select on that, and select on that one, and we have our column bases in place. So that's how you set up the grid line and define the size of or sizes of the column and the sizes of the pad footing. And let's meet in the next presentation how I'll go further on how we can redevelop this by placing the plinth beams and other components of this particular structure. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. This is Morris Gimba, and let's meet then.